with an exciting Mechabellum update. We got a new unit, the Sandworm. It is a melee giant unit that fits the same giant profile of a 4x4 square. It burrows underground, and when it does that, it drops aggro. So this is a really nice unit to get in there and do a lot of damage without dying. It has the same amount of HP as Fortress, and its movement speed is that of the Crawler. Its attack is one of the highest in the game, and its splash is also one of the widest in the game. It has an attack interval of 2.5 seconds, so it's a little bit of a slow attacker, but it does massive damage and can take out a chunk of units with one hit. It's melee range, and it can only target ground without its tech. It does have an air tech, so if you want to chew on overlords, it can. I think one of the better techs it has is mechanical rage, because it lowers that attack speed further, and it also makes its movement speed faster, really letting you get in there to do some damage. It has an armor enhancement, so it can be tankier, with 50% more HP and blocking 60 points of damage per attack. It has mech div, where it'll make little baby sandworms. And well, same as the steel ball, where this activates when it dies. It has underground maintenance, where it will regenerate when it is burrowed. It also has replicate, so when it emerges, it'll create another larva. So this is great if you want to have a little extra protection when the sandworm emerges. And then Sandstorm is probably its most interesting tech, which will reduce the range of all units when it emerges by 50%, so it kind of makes this AoE effect around it, and it also reduces range attacks on those units in the Sandstorm by 30%. So if you have an opponent that's playing the long range game and you want some extra protection, this is a really good tech for you. I think this also might just be taken most games. It's hard to know which one of these techs is going to end up being the best. I think the Sandworm has so many great options, making it a very versatile giant, and I think it's everything aggro players have ever wanted from like the Rhino. I think this will pair well with crawlers, wraiths, wasps, and phoenixes. So I think you'll see games that are trying to be closed out with sandworms, like sub 15 minutes, maybe around like round 6 or 7. Once these guys hit the board, they will start doing massive damage. Now let's jump into some gameplay. When I saw this unit get announced, I was really excited to try it with aggro strategies, and I thought some of the best pairings were like crawlers plus phoenix or crawlers plus wraith. So when I saw the aerial specialist, I knew I wanted it right away, because I knew I was going to play sandworms this game. So I picked aerial specialization, and my opponent grabbed supply specialist. So if we orient ourselves a little bit here, this round 1, I knew I was going to play one-sided aggression, so I opted for the left side of the map, and my opponent played pretty standard. You'll see me position all my units on the left, and one of the things I did right away, because I didn't like my odds of killing all these fangs with phoenixes, I sold a pack of Phoenix, unlocked the Wraith, and slammed the Wraith down. I knew I also really want a high-level Wraith this game, so that was another reason why I did that, because I wanted to get levels as soon as possible. So going into this first round, we get a nice decisive win, because he doesn't have anything that can do with the Wraith, and he's got a lot of resources on the right side of the map. So let this play out and talk about round 2. I can skip ahead a bit. So into round 2, we get Stew Balls, Scorpions, Arclight, and Mustang. I definitely looked at his board and said this is a Mustang game, because he has so many fangs. So I grab myself my Mustang, and I believe my opponent also takes Mustangs too. He didn't really have any solid options, I guess, other than the Mustang. So this round I think I just flank with the crawlers and level my tower. And then I save 100 gold. Or, excuse me, I do not save 100 gold. But maybe that's a observer bug. I think it's a bug. Oh no, it's, yeah, the Mustangs cost 100, excuse me. So that's kind of all we did this round. We once again do pretty good because the Wraith is kind of unstoppable right now. So we will go into round 3. I did win this round. So round 3 comes around. This is the round where I'm starting to think, okay, am I going to grab myself the worm this round or next round? This round I take the haste module and level my Wraith. So now we have this big meaty Wraith that is not going to die to Mustangs. I sell my second Phoenix. My opponent puts down a fortress. So here I spend a decent amount of time debating on whether or not to take the worm this round. And I believe I opt for a second Wraith that is placed aggressively here to get rid of all of these small units. Might take me a few moments to make that decision. I remember really contemplating hard here. But when you see this kind of board, I mean, he's not doing enough to stop a worm. Like, the worms really need something tanky to have them kind of stuck, or like drip chaff will also help. And he still hasn't sold out of this right side. A lot of resources sitting here. So our flank is working really well. So there's the second Wraith and the degen beam instead of the worm. So I think we'll play through a little bit of this round to show that I'm still pretty well handling this left flank, and he hasn't done anything cheeky on my flanks. If I were playing his board, I would have started to sell out of these units and move more resources to the left. I would have also may have tried some kind of aggressive play on this tower. So the race clean up everything on the left, and we'll move to the next round, or the fourth round, I mean. So here we are. This is going to be the worm round. I take a look at these cards, and I know I want to close the game out quickly, so I skip. And my opponent, who's been playing greedy the entire game, has grabbed Senior Specialist. In the other round, he took another Supply Specialist. So I think he's making some obvious mistakes with his card choices. He should be trying to defend this aggro, and going greedy money cards is not the way to do it. So you see a worm that is directly in front of this fortress, and a worm that I stuck in the back line. My opponent has grabbed an air barrage for the Wraiths, which I think was a bit odd. Air barrage is not good against Wraiths. As you can see, it didn't do enough damage. He really needed a unit to address the Wraiths, like Phoenixes or Overlord or Melting Point. Of course, even some marksmen. So you can see the worms do quite a bit of damage and get through this side of the map even faster. The opponent still hasn't sold out of his right flank. So the worms are in a pop-up here. You can kind of see them by the cloud. I can zoom in here. You can see their little like trail of sand. I think there's some visual clarity problems with where the worm is. So maybe some work there needs to be done yet. So the fifth round comes in. See, the Rhino card's pretty nice. Some Steel Balls is what I end up picking because they're free and they are also good against fortresses. My opponent grabs a Rhino. I also take the Steel Balls because they're pretty good against Rhinos. So you can see I take one Steel Ball and put it down here on my flank because I think maybe the Rhino's going to come down there. I put the other one up here to help address the fortress. And then I believe I drop 2 more Sandworms. I also rapid resupply. And I think here I look at grabbing the replicate tech. So this one is every time they burrow and unburrow, they make a baby Sandworm. I think one of the things when you have fortresses and Sandworms pop up that you can do is take Punch, but he did not have Punch on his fortresses, so I think we'll start to see that tech on fortresses more, because it does do a lot of damage, and once you can see, like, here's a Sandworm attacking a fortress, it chunks the fortress pretty hard, so you'll get quite your punches activated pretty quick, and maybe it'll just help destroy these Sandworms. The Wraith Degen Beam really amps up the damage that the Sandworm does too. That's another reason why it's a good pairing. This time they didn't even get to attack before that fortress dropped. Just a little bit of cleanup on this side and we have a dub. So I hope you enjoyed. There's some of the baby Sandworms. Hope you enjoyed the replay here. And although my opponent, you know, hadn't played the best, he he made some obvious mistakes, but I hope you still enjoyed the gameplay of the Sandworm. I think we'll see a lot of it in the next few weeks until people figure out how to deal with it. I think frontlining things like Fortress with Punch is going to be a pretty common way to stop the Sandworm. We also might see some things like frontline Scorpions with the new armor tech that's been buffed to give 50% more HP. Be kind of introduced back into the meta. And then I think drip fangs or crawlers into the Sandworm is an effective way to slow them down. And I also believe, like, your own Degen Beam Wraith will go a long way to helping you take down these beasts. So let me know what you think of this new unit. Hope you enjoyed some narration over a replay for a change. Bye for now.